Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. We've published some videos recently talking about asylum, and the question we are getting a lot is this question about why do some people get asylum, some people get subsidiary protection, and others get rejected completely. I want to take a moment to explain the key element between all of these, and that key element is political persecution. I'm going to explain that today because it's something that I feel like we're getting a lot of confusion on. Let me start by saying that in order for someone to be granted asylum, they have to be able to prove that they have been politically persecuted. Keep that in mind for a moment. Politically persecuted. If someone does not or cannot prove political persecution, but they can prove that if they return to their native country, they will be harmed by the government, then they are entitled to subsidiary protection. If someone does not have political persecution, cannot prove that they are going to be harmed when they are returned to their home country, then they are completely denied asylum at every level. Now, for Americans, that would mean that they have the ability to simply request a work permit and a residence permit and move on with their lives. Americans don't need to go after political persecution. They don't need to try to get asylum or subsidiary protection. At the end of the day, as an American, just come over here and get a job. If in the future there is some kind of problem where the American government says, oh, this person didn't register, this person didn't do that, this or that, and they want them returned to the United States, at that point, that person can go to a lawyer, preferably our lawyer who is handling these types of situations, and you can block it. But to come seek asylum is not the answer, and I'm going to tell you why. It comes down to political persecution. What exactly does that mean? I am a former registrant, and those of you who may still be on the registry or have loved ones on the registry believe that the government is persecuting you for having, been convicted of committing sexual-related offenses. It's not quite true. I know that that's how it seems from your perspective. It certainly did seem that way from my perspective, but I now understand, based on my study of the international law, that that's not quite how it works. I'm going to use Afghanistan for a moment as an example. A woman is born a woman. I'm not going to get into gender identity politics. This is just simply a woman is born a woman, and because she is a woman in Afghanistan, she is denied the right to vote. She is denied the right to go to school and get an education. That law is persecuting her for being a female, something she was born. Biologically, she was born a woman. She can't change that. If we talk about a situation like Iraq prior to the liberation, a woman was denied the right to choose her own marriage partner. A woman was denied the right to vote, not because of anything she did, but simply for being born who she was. And that's what asylum law looks at. This character that you're being persecuted for, was it a characteristic you were born with? That's the key issue. Is it a character trait you were born with? Now, if we say that someone today in Hungary or the country of Iran, if they are persecuted and in Iran being executed for being gay, we now understand that being gay is something that someone is born with. It's not a developed trait. It's not a characteristic that has an onset in adolescence, let's say. A person was born that way, and the government has imposed laws punishing them simply for being born who they were. That is political persecution. Now, let me bring it a little closer to home. Let's talk about the United States. If someone is born a pedophile, if they have that mental characteristic that they are attracted to underage children, underage meaning prepubescent children, the actual definition of pedophilia. If the government were to impose a law punishing people simply for being attracted to prepubescent children, that would be political persecution. just because they are who they are. However, when those people act on their attraction, they are now committing a crime. It is an action. That is not political persecution. That is crime and punishment. And asylum law does not recognize someone as belonging to a protected class simply because of their actions. So, if they're persecuted simply for being attracted to children, that would be a human rights issue. Can't help who you're born. You can't help that. But you can help whether you act on it or not. Same thing with homosexuality in the United States. At one time, it was illegal to engage in homosexual activities. The military, in my time, would expel people for being gay. So in that case, it's not that they're being gay that they were being persecuted for, but because they acted on it. That's the problem. Now, I'm taking my personal opinions out of this. Obviously, if you're gay, I think you should be allowed to act on it. But if you're a pedophile, I'm not sure you should be able to act on that because, I mean, children need to be protected. The children have the right to have childhoods that are not interfered with by other people. And so I'm not going to get into that topic per se. I just simply need you to understand that people who are on the registry are not being politically persecuted. Whether I agree with it or not, and I don't agree with it, they are being perpetually punished for their actions. It's not the same thing. The action is not the same thing as the person. Now, just let me be really clear on the record. I abhor the registry. I think that when people commit crimes that are sexually related, yes, they need to be held accountable for it. I don't have a problem with that. But I think that the punishments need to be rational. And I think there needs to be an end to the punishment. And putting people on the registry and punishing them perpetually for the rest of their lives prevents them from rehabilitating themselves and from having meaningful lives, almost to the point that once you've committed a sexually related offense, well, your life is over. There's no purpose. There's no moving forward. And that is why we are trying so hard over here in Europe to create a place where people who want second chances, who deserve second chances, they have a place to come. That's what we're after. And hopefully I'm crystal clear on that this time around, but I need everybody to understand that. So that is why I'm saying those of you who are on the registry and not happy with your lives, you can come over here and just get a job and move on with your lives. I know it's hard to believe. I know that, but I did it. Justin, who's not sitting here next to me today, he happens to be standing behind the camera. He did it. Gus did it. Dave did it. I mean, I can literally give you 20, 25 names off the top of my head, the people who came over here and just restarted their lives. You don't need to go through the asylum process. What is important for me is that these German court decisions have pointed a finger at the United States and said, you guys are really out of whack over there. But the truth is there's an easier path for you. So hopefully that was clear. If it wasn't clear, let me know, and I'll try again to do my best. But hopefully this puts it to rest. So if you're not happy with your situation, regardless of whether you think it's a human rights violation or not, and you just want a second start, you need to do something about it. So until next time, my friends, take care of yourselves. Cheers.